Hello, Metal Nation. It is I, Tim. That's Mike. This is Podcast Them Down. And we're going to do one of our extremely popular, very technical episodes where where we give an update on the goings-on in hardware and software land. So you have created a backing...
Yes.
Okay, so hang on. Let me back up. You blew up a backing track player.
Yeah, and let me show you something. All right. So I got these Seox or Chucks or something power,
Taylors,
like pedal board
shoes?
power supply. Huh?
Chuck Taylor's, the shoes?
Chuck Taylors, yeah. You know, Seox, Cioks. I don't know how it's pronounced. But they have a bunch of like kind of custom-ish wires that you can get. And one of them, so when I was toying with the idea of taking my Cymatic MTrack 24, which is a backing track multiplayer.
So basically, you load up. If you have all the stems for a song, I'm trying to think of who the audience is, like how much background they need. You know, like when you hit play on your Spotify and you get left and right. Well, imagine you had 24 of those channels instead of just left and right. You had 1 through 24, and 1 is the kick drum, and 2 is the snare drum, and 3 and 4 are the drum overheads, and then 5 is guitar, and 6 is another guitar, and 7, you get the idea. That's what this does. It plays back a music file with up to 24 outputs, and they're all isolated. So this is how bands do their backing track players, because it's a backing track player.
Usually bands will use a laptop and an audio interface. This is really how most bands do it. But if you're running your own tech, personally, I find babysitting a laptop while playing guitar to be absolutely impossible.
And
so
most bands also put it back by the drummer, by the way. The drummer often has the laptop open by him. But in case he's listening, no offense, but you need to be playing drums. You don't need to be worrying about the laptop.
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, I think Tim and I, well, in at least the band where a lot of this came from, Recently Vacated Graves, Tim and I had the most tech awareness. So we ended up being like the tech people. And then I kind of took it over because I went crazy with everything that I've done. But anyway, that aside, yes, backing track player just plays multiple multiple channels of audio simultaneously. And Seox they're basically very nice DC or AC to DC power supplies usually for use in pedal boards. But the Cymatic MTrack 24 backing track player is powered by 15 volt DC, which the Seox DC7 can do, but you need to sum up. You need to put a few current doublers because there's kind of like a few outputs that can only do so many amps, and you need more than one. So, and you can use a current doubler cable to do that. And this just you plug into one output on the Seox, you plug into another, and then you get another output, and then you can plug that direct. So I needed 3, which is fine. However, this is a voltage doubler, and this does something slightly different.
Why? I believe that doubles voltage.
Yes, and that means that I put 30 volts into my MTrack 24. And all of a sudden, my MTrack 24 started smoking.
You let out the magic smoke.
And I said, oh shit, what did I just do? And that's when I realized that this is not a current doubler, it's a voltage doubler. This is, by the way, this is the exact cable that fucked me.
Why do you still have it?
What if I need it? Now I know.
Need to, double some voltage and break something else.
Yeah. Okay. So I did this right before our tour, which caused all sorts of issues, but we got through it. But the thing is that I had been worried about this scenario for an incredibly long time. I talked to Tim about it multiple times. I talked with various people in the band. It's like, look, Cymatic, the company that makes this backing track player, is no more. They've ceased operation. So it's like there is a fixed number of these backing track players on the market. At a certain point, this will not be viable. I don't think that point is now. I could probably have just bought another one, but then I was like, all right.
They are $600, and you definitely couldn't have turned it around for the tour.
No, it would have been impossible.
Like, used ones are $600.
Yeah. Well, when I bought it, it was $1,000, so that's so
it's coming down.
Yeah.
Oh,
not used. I bought it. I bought it new for $1,000.
Here's one for $1,181 plus $111 in shipping.
Oh, that's coming from like Japan.
I'm checking.
Yeah.
No, it's coming from Deutschland.
Okay. All right. So, long story short, I've been worried about this forever. So I said, okay, I'm going to write my own because I'm a nerd and I can. So I went on. This is now released on GitHub. You can see this. It's not perfect. We've had issues gigging with it. I'm still trying to shake out the issues. However, it does work. I've written this thing called MTrack. It runs, it's intended to be run on a Raspberry Pi, and you can connect it to any audio interface and just play back audio. So I initially wrote this in Golang. We're really diving into...
Yeah. No. This is the sound of more people turning the podcast on.
Yeah. Okay, so I...
What's Golang?
Golang is a programming language that I believe was kind of championed by Google, but it's very good at multi-threading and concurrency. So doing multiple things at the same time. Because I use this day to day, I was like, I'll just use this because this is, this is my bread and butter. I'll be able to do this fast. This is not necessarily incorrect. However, one of the issues is that audio playback, especially in Linux, is kind of done through this ALSA driver or ALSA system. What is it? Audio Linux something. I don't remember what it stands for anymore.
I don't know.
Let's see.
Should have put it in the README. I'm reading your README
Linux.
right now.
Well, but the thing is, though, is that I don't use it directly now. Okay. So in Golang, I had to use kind of this ALSA subsystem. And there isn't really a Golang ALSA library. So I had to use raw C, which you can do from Go. And I did it. It's okay. I had some issues that I needed to work through, but the performance is heinous using CGo. Or at least it was subpar for what I needed, and maybe I could have hatched through it. Maybe it was something that I could have tweaked easily. I'm sure if there are programmers listening to this that know more about this, they'd be like, oh, you did the wrong thing. But basically, I was like, okay, maybe Go isn't the best choice here. So I did a very reasonable thing, and I was like, I'm going to use Rust. I don't know shit about Rust. I don't know a goddamn thing. Or I guess I do now, but I didn't when I started this. I was like, I'm just going to use Rust.
I see on GitHub this is 100% in Rust.
Yeah, it is 100% in Rust. Do I have the Go branch? No, I hid it. It's gone. There's no evidence of my Go. iteration of this. But I was like, all right, let's use Rust. So before I did this, is there Rust audio libraries? And there are, and they're pretty good. So I kind of made sure that what I wanted to do existed first. Because you can sit there and you can do everything using C, which is fine. But if it's like, if I'm gonna wrap around C, I might as well just do it in C, which I used to program in a long time ago. But no, Rust looked like a pretty appropriate language, and it's something I've been kind of curious about doing for a while. So I wrote this thing. It's got some issues, like I said. We were gigging with it last weekend, and it stopped letting me go forward. And I checked. I have logs, and they were empty.
Oh, shit.
So I'm very annoyed. So now I'm going to have to spend some time trying to reproduce this.
Could it have had something to do with all the fried hot dogs we had eaten? Maybe the grease got in the...
I think that's it. I have a suspicion I know what it is, but I don't know. I have a suspicion I know the nature of the issue. I just don't know that I know. I don't know the exact issue, if that makes sense. But overall, I mean, I'm fairly happy with this thing. It does what it's supposed to do. And the idea is that you have a MIDI controller on a pedal board that you send MIDI commands to the player, and then you can navigate a playlist, start a song, stop a song, which is actually not something that I could easily do before.
And again, it's a Raspberry Pi, and there's no monitor, and it's headless.
It's a headless Raspberry Pi, yeah. If something goes wrong, you're sort of hosed, which is something I'm trying to wrestle with at the moment. But so here's one of the interesting things. So with the Cymatic, I'm pretty sure what happens, you have to use their tool, U-Tool, which I know that you've used because you have like the player version.
I have the dumber cousin of the U-Track 24. It's like a U-Track 16 or something.
Yeah. So I'm pretty sure what it does is it takes the wave files and like coalesces them into one multi-channel wave file and plays that. I'm pretty sure. And I decided that I sort of didn't like that. So I wrote my own, I don't know, maybe you'd call it like a wave file muxer. Like it takes the wave files and then interleaves them as PCM data. So for audio, like an audio interface, the way data is written, you can do it in a few ways, but I found that this is not. I found that this seems to be more like theoretical than actual. PCM data is channel 1, channel 2, channel 3, channel 4, channel 5, channel 6 to channel N. And then the next sample, channel 1, channel 2, channel 3, channel 4. So it's everything interleaved over and over again. So at 44.1K, at a 44.1 kilohertz sample rate, so that's 44,100 samples per second times the number of channels. And if you think about it, if you do this wrong, you could be moving a lot of data around, right? So basically what I've done is it reads N wave files, takes the channels from those wave files, and then creates a PCM stream containing the samples in the appropriate order. So we have click track.
Yeah, if you skipped over like channel 8, you're not carrying around all those zeros anymore. You're putting them in when needed.
Yeah. Yes. So yeah, I had to learn about PCM streams, which I didn't know anything about before. I had to learn Rust, which is very interesting. and very frustrating. I got there. I tried to do a little bit of smarts, which I ended up stripping out because it was like not really doing what I wanted it to do. In terms of what I'm doing under the covers, there's 2 libraries I'm using. I'm using CPAL, which is I don't know what it stands for, but it's a Rust audio library. Let's see. Cross-platform audio
Library.
Perfect. And the next one I'm using is actually not particularly well used, but I kind of went over it. I was like, you know what? This looks good. It's called Nodi, Nodi. This is for MIDI. So it's this very kind of, oh, nice. He's still updating it, which I'm happy about. It basically uses MIDI-R or whatever, which is another Rust library to do real-time MIDI playback. So here's something that's interesting. MIDI files, as you read them, they have like, in terms of their file format, they contain just a bunch of ticks, right? Like there are some variances, but I think for the most part, this is how most of them are defined. It's just, so it's like start point. I have this many ticks per minute. Tick, 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 tick. So if you want to play this back in real time, you basically need to like play everything that should have been played in the last tick. Wait that specific amount of time. Play everything. Wait that specific amount of time. Play everything. Yada, yada, yada. And the ticks are actually finer grained than what some operating systems will allow you to sleep for. Which is okay, because you can busy sleep instead. But that eats up CPU time and it's unpleasant. So what I was going to write my own before I stumbled on this. And after looking at it, it's like, this really, though it's not a very popular library, it's like, this is actually fine. He has basically a ticker that waits the appropriate amount of time in between each MIDI tick and then plays out to MIDI-R, whatever it is. And it works. So I've used it. It works. Everything seems to work. The issue now seems to be more like consistency. So, like I said, during our last show, it just ceased working. And I know it was like getting info, so I don't know why it stopped. But it's hard to write automated tests for this because you need an actual audio interface. So I'm sort of looking into how I can emulate that. Because there is like there are null audio interfaces that you can load, and ALSA could potentially do that. But yeah, so if you're interested, I guess I gave a link to Tim.
We'll put it in the thing. You can download it. You can submit issues. You can complain to him.
Yeah, I'm sure my Rust is awful. So feel free to correct me. But that's about it. Yeah, it's been interesting. I've had to learn quite a bit of stuff.
Was it worth saving $600?
Truthfully, yes, to me. Because once I get this kind of more dialed in, then I don't really have to worry about finding the perfect piece of gear that does what I want, that I can trust will be around. It's such a niche thing because most of the bands that do this sort of thing either have somebody that can be more dedicated to the laptop or they have like techs. So one of the bands we played with, Obsolescence, they have like a very cool backing track rig that I've geeked out endlessly with their singer about. But he's the lead singer. He's not playing an instrument, so he tends to go over and be like, okay, if something goes wrong, he can kind of dial it in, like in between, in between the vocal performance when you're holding like a bass. Yep. That's like, I need to go over to the laptop. It's like, that's not going to work. So I feel like, singer or drummer would be a very good like laptop monitor. So I feel like the laptop works really well for him. Oh, I did notice during their last show there was some technical issue.
Oh, I didn't even notice.
It was not with the in-ear rig. I think it was with one of the guitarists, and the singer went over and he was like fiddling with it and fixed it. So I was like, this man is just the overall band tech. He handles it all. I was impressed. But anyway.
So are there really no other hardware players now?
There are a few. There's the Idoru P1.
I have a feeling Cymatic was the bottom of the line in terms of it's all uphill from here, right?
Well, sort of. Okay. There is one that is not going anywhere, but it's a bit of a different ball game. I linked you to idoru.live. So this is a 6-channel pedal. I believe it's 6 channels.
It says right here on idoru.live, a laptop is not designed for a live music environment.
Yeah, I agree. And I like this.
Oh, and it's out of stock, but it's just under $600.
Yeah, it's not cheap, but I don't think that these things would be cheap. But the issue for me is having 6 outputs.
Yeah, we need more.
Not only that, I want this. Like, I want a multi-pin connector. I do not want to plug six things in at the start of every show. I want to plug one thing in at the start of every show. And without doing a multi-pin connector like this, and for audio listeners, this is a bayonet-style circular multi-pin connector. You're either going to be doing a DB25 like serial connector, which is fragile, or you're going to have something hardwired, which is sort of
self-destruct.
Yeah. There you go.
All right, I found another one. Play Audio 12. It does 12 tracks. And that is $800. iConnectivity.
This is not quite what you think it is. It is intended for that purpose, but as far as I can tell, this is meant to be driven by a laptop.
Oh, well, that doesn't help.
I think.
Yeah, it shows it between 2 laptops.
Yeah.
Well, if you're just going to do that, you just get an audio interface. Who cares?
Yeah, it's interesting. Like, you could potentially use it as the thing that the Raspberry Pi connects to, provided that it's class compliant. Let's see. It says USB Audio 2.0 and USB MIDI 1.0 class compliant. You could use this for the for the Raspberry Pi.
Okay, so just to recap, you to replace your to have a cheap multi-track audio player for like backing tracks, you have made you can now use your Raspberry Pi to do it, provided you have the audio interface piece you need.
Yes.
And it's class compliant, which should say somewhere.
A lot of things are nowadays. There are 2 other products, by the way, that I know about. And one of them is real weird. And you could almost not even find it. Yeah, what the hell is... Oh, it's
Is it Joco?
Joco is the one I was going to go to last, but since I can't find the other one, let's go. Joco. Go ahead and look up the Joco prices because I know exactly what you're going to say. Now,
Yeah, I can't put where to buy. They don't even have the prices. That's not good.
By all accounts, the Joco stuff looks solid, but there's a problem for me that has nothing to do with the price.
Holy shit.
These things are thousands of dollars.
Sweetwater has them for $2,494.
Yeah, but there's another issue. It doesn't do MIDI.
Oh, you're right. But it does have that thing you like.
What the
I don't know what the connectors are called.
Oh, DB25?
Yeah. Oh, it has MIDI in. That doesn't help.
That's so like the Behringer X32. That MIDI in is only for control.
Oh, yeah.
The X32 weirds me out because I don't understand why it has that fucking MIDI.
Well,
as far as
Automatic
I know,
Audio makes a MTrack 32 card for the X32.
Yes,
which I bet has MIDI out.
That's true. Yeah, I wonder. Not that makes any difference anymore.
It doesn't help anyone right now.
Right. The other one is this product. It's I want to say it's called like the B Live. Oh man,
maybe you dreamed that one.
No. M Live B Beat. The M Live B Beat backing track player.
I got Michigan basketball.
Is it B Beat or is it?
I found it. It's m-live.com.
Yeah. Now I believe this is an Italian company that makes this.
Hey, it's a good boy.
This is interesting, actually. It could potentially work.
Questo sito utilizza I cookies. Ciao. Questo sito web utilizza cookie essenziale per get. All right, I'll stop.
Like, this product could potentially fill the niche that we need, but it's not really purpose built. So it doesn't really do what you want, which is, I don't think that's a problem. It's just, there really isn't anything in this market that's like even remotely accessible. So I forgot to tell you one thing that I did with the MTrack player. You know, open source licenses.
Yes.
There's various ones. One of the more restrictive ones, at least in terms of what you can do with it commercially, is GPL 3. You can still do commercial stuff with it, but like, you know, if you're a company, you kind of want it to be lesser GPL, like LGPL, because you can more easily just kind of use it. So I made mine GPL 3, sort of on purpose.
Yeah, so companies aren't going to scoop this up, but people can use it, I'm guessing.
Yes, and that's sort of exactly like what I would want is if you're a band, just go use it. If you want to productize it,
go fuck yourself.
Yeah. you know, I have no issues with like bands that, even big bands, you know, it's like if you want to roll your own shit, yeah, go for it. But if you're, you know, if I don't want anybody to take this and like make a company out of it, that would make me very upset. Not that as far as we can tell, it seems to be a very lucrative hardware line, but yeah, the last thing that I would love to do, just thinking out loud, is add in a DMX engine into the backing track player itself.
Nice.
But the issue here is the fact that there's no DMX file format. I can make one. That's fine. But I have no editor for it then. So then I have to make an editor for it. And that's basically going to look like a MIDI. It's going to look like a MIDI editor, but with like twice the bits for value. You know what I mean? Like it's weird. So I don't know how I would generate such a file. I wish there was just a DMX file, because most of the DMX stuff, and for listeners, DMX is a lighting protocol. So Eisenmore has its own lighting show now. That's basically done.
Oh, sweet! I forgot that's coming back. Yeah, for these shows we couldn't have. We it's a different podcast, but for a bunch of recent shows we couldn't have our light show or our true backing track player. We could have it in our ears, but that's it.
I have news for you, by the way, lighting wise.
Well, offline news or online news?
Oh, it can be online. So one of the pain points of setting up our lights is wiring.
Yeah.
I don't think that'll be a problem anymore.
Oh, no. There's no wires. The wires are gone.
Including plugging in, including
they all have their own fission reactors.
I went and got a nice set of wireless battery powered lights.
Wireless wires. Well,
yes.
Cool. I'm looking forward to to using them.
And the nice thing is that
being illuminated by them.
Once the lights start working again, instead of being like, okay, we got to go like get there way early and then like plug all the wires in and then put the brain right where it needs to be, so that it'll just be like, just put the wires up or just put the lights there.
And we're done.
And we're done.
Nice. Looking forward to that.
Yeah, me too. All right, that's about it.
Let's end on the good news then.
Yeah. All right.
Well, until next time, Metal Nation, make sure your backing track players are hardware based, so you don't have to let go of your guitar to fuck with the computer, because it's a mistake we've made, and it's a mistake I've seen other people make, and just stop making the same mistake and download Mike's thing, and you'll be good. Unless
and help
problems,
me, help me make it better.
Yeah, make it more better.
Cast them down.
Nerd. If anyone got this far, it's because they wanted to write that in the comments, but I beat them to it.